I think all of us know that the readings at Sunday Mass move through a 3-year cycle. Cycle A is the first year that we focus mostly on the Gospel of Matthew. Cycle B, the year we're in, focuses on the Gospel of Mark. And then Cycle C focuses on the Gospel of St. Luke. But always in Cycle B, around this time, we have a 5-week period where we move through chapter 6 of the Gospel of St. John. We began it last Sunday when we heard the miracle, the multiplication of the loaves and the fish, that wondrous miracle that's recounted in all 4 gospel writers that shows how God's action in feeding the crowd is a sign of his infinite generosity in our lives, how he wants to multiply in us all that we bring to him for our benefit and for the good of others. This week we now follow with that miracle, and now the scene has moved to the synagogue in Capernaum across the Sea of Galilee, and we begin what is called the Bread of Life discourse. First, they ask him, what can we do to accomplish the works of God? And so the scene is said almost like they want to, what the bottom line is, we might call that. Tell us what we have to do so we can do it. But our life of faith is not like that. Because our life of faith is not so much about what we do, but it's about what God has done for us and continues to do for us in Christ. And so Jesus responds that the work of God is to believe in the one he sent. And here is the essence of our call of faith: to believe, to accept all that God has taught us and all that God has planned for us, how his will is constantly being presented to us in our daily living, in the vocations that are ours, in all the duties and responsibilities that we have, and the loves that we have. But we have to be careful to receive this, but not be like the Israelite community in our first reading. They're following Moses, who has been designated by God to lead them from the slavery of Egypt to the freedom of the promised land. But now the course of their journey has become difficult. They see the hardship that they face, and it's not the way they want it to be. So they grumble against Moses and Aaron. It sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? Isn't that what you and I do almost daily? Maybe we hear a teaching in the church that is not consistent with what we would like to do, and we grumble. Maybe we're faced with some struggle or difficulty in our lives. Again, that is all somehow part of God's plan for us, meant for our sanctification. But again, it's not pleasant. So we complain. Maybe we even oppose it, when that struggle or suffering that we have may be just what God knows we need to advance in our faith and in our love of him. And that then brings us back here to the Eucharist, where we come here every weekend. Because here you and I are united to Christ, not just in this sacrament and not just for this 1 hour, but for our lives. And to see in all the circumstances of our lives, the good and the bad, we are meant to be united in and experience his presence, and to know the liberating power that his grace can give. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger, and whoever believes in me will never thirst. Think of these 2 things, hunger and thirst. They are the most basic deprivations of our human experience. And these words represent all the sufferings and all the deprivations that you and I will face each and every day of our lives, in every aspect of our lives. The emotional heartaches that come to us, the physical limitations and illnesses that we will face, the trials, the fears, the interpersonal conflicts that seek to oppress us. Whoever comes to me will never hunger. And whoever believes in me will never thirst. We have to hear this, and we have to believe it. We have to see that in this Eucharist, we are connected to Christ. We are filled with Him. And when we have Christ, we have everything. Because He is everything. He made everything. He is our origin and He is our destiny. We have to know here this communion in Christ is meant to continue when we leave here. So that all those trials and sufferings that can overwhelm us will be how this Eucharist continues. Because then we are united more deeply to the one who suffered and died for us. Then we won't grumble or complain, but we will only thank Him for the blessings of our sufferings that bring us closer to Him. In this way, you and I, as we journey through the desert of our lives, will not suffer from those hungers and thirsts, because we will be transformed by the power of God's grace, of what St. Paul writes in our second reading. We will take on a new self, and we will know and then experience an ever-growing communion with the living God, and that peace that He alone can give.